Hey, welcome back. It's your favorite Blue Hen Realtors with some helpful tips for those of you who are looking to buy or sell a home. I'm Leah Bennett.
Cortney Bailey, back again.
Jen Scott.
Dave Mays, licensed Delaware Realtor.
And so, since we're talking about fixing up properties as a seller, a lot of sellers are saying, I'm selling my home as is. But is there anything I'm compelled to have to fix before I list my property? So what are some of those things?
I'll jump on that. It's a case-by-case basis, of course, but I just want to say I try to educate sellers that, yes, but we're also doing a media day. We're going to come in and take pictures and video and do a virtual tour. We know, according to the National Association of Realtors, 95% of folks are finding houses online. They're looking for themselves and sending it to their realtors or getting, their families are finding listings online and linking buyers and sellers, et cetera, to these homes. So given that, you do want to put the best foot forward of the home. I think we've all been in situations also that best foot actually may feel like a misrepresentation of the home if it has beautiful pictures and you get there and you're like, this isn't what it looked like online. It looked like a resort, and now I feel like I'm at a hostel. So I try to give sellers that perspective. I use professional photography, professional videography. So your house is going to look good if we get and capture the correct angles, but we want to make sure it's also accurate and don't disappoint buyers when they come show up in person.
I so definitely agree, Dave. And also I think a lot of sellers don't understand that depending on the buyer's loan type, there are different things that are going to be required for FHA versus conventional versus VA. So just as a quick example, when you have an FHA buyer, there has to be a standard of living in the home. So for example, I had a seller who they had 3 steps that entered into the house. By code, if you have more than 2 steps, you have to have a handrail. So that wasn't something that they initially thought about. And when I saw it, I didn't think about it either because they bought the house 2 years prior with an FHA loan, just as it was with no handrail. So in theory, it should have been fine, but appraisers, inspectors, it's subjective. So when they come, we had to install a handrail. And then of course, sellers may not know that you have to have for an FHA loan, you have to have a way for a buyer to cook food, not necessarily store food. So they don't have to have a refrigerator, but you have to have a working stove, something like that. So I think that sellers just need to keep in mind when they believe that as is means that they don't have to do anything. That's not necessarily true.
So the truth of the matter is it is a seller's market. I can't say that enough, right? So if your house comes on the market, it's going to sell if it is priced right. So now, where can we price it? If you want top dollar for your house, your kitchen needs to be updated, your bathrooms need to be updated, right? But just on a safety and health level, you want to make sure that all of those safety concerns are taken care of. As Courtney mentioned, if you have an FHA loan, like chip paint is not going to pass, right? So that's something, and that's on the inside and on the outside of the house. If you've got a leaky roof, that needs to be taken care of. Your piping, your toilets, things, and need to be able to flush. If we've got quarter baths here in New Jersey, so it could just be a toilet in the basement. If it's not flushing, that's a problem, right? So a good way to figure out what needs to be taken care of immediately is to have a home inspection done. Okay, so we recommend that all of our sellers have a home inspection done.
I agree, absolutely. Anything that's going to be a health and safety issue is something that has to be addressed. And that's with any any buyer. Sellers can sometimes take things personally and think that maybe a buyer is being unreasonable, but any buyer that you're going to come across is going to have required repairs, safety issues that are brought up by their lender, by inspectors. And so sellers should be aware that they should have a contingency available that allows them to just fix anything that is a safety and health issue in general. Besides, you wouldn't want anything harmful to come to your buyers that have just moved into your home. There's that human factor that we all have to go back to in the middle of a financial transaction. There's always that human component of, are we passing on a home that is healthy and safety to the next person? That's the goal.
That's a good point. Just because it's a seller's market doesn't mean seller, you just sit back and don't do anything. What it means is that if your house, because of low inventory or whatever driving factor it is, your house is more apt to sell quicker, more apt to sell for a higher amount. But don't you want to support those factors in the presentation and the systems of the house working correctly so that you can, in fact, get a higher amount or a quicker sale or a higher offer?